Alright guys, here's my sound choices. I cranked up this snare a little bit. So, reason being guys, this is really about playing to the song. So, I'm really, I'm not a huge fan of playing all wooden snares and wood hoops and that, but it has its place, and the reason being because this is a 6.5, the other's only 5 inches deep, and the song that is being played is literally it's the deadest snare you can possibly imagine. It's detuned and has a towel laying over it. So that's why I was going for that. And with this, putting the new head on, I just put the Genera on. I went for the absolute lowest tuning right off the bat so that way I could kind of match that. So now I've cranked it up a little bit, and this is without any muffling at all, okay? So got a bit more snap pop to it, more overtone. Okay. And then some flam thing. Okay, that's just as is, and you choke just a little bit with how tight the snares are on the bottom. Without the snares. And I'm going for that kind of drier, choked sound just so that I'm not having these overtones create mud, okay? Now here's with the E-ring on. And so sensitive too. Which is always great, where it doesn't choke out the more you lay into it. Then a little rim shot. Okay, so without the E-ring. With the E-ring. Then got the big fat snare cover. Now see, that's pretty much identical what's in the song. So that's why I chose that specific sound for that. And like I said, this isn't exactly my forte either, but it is what is in the song and what the song calls for. Really like lower fat rock sound, you know? Okay, and then without it on, with it on, okay, then we'll get rid of this. Just to give you guys this nice A-B comparison, okay? Because I really want to make sure I get this dialed in, because I had literally just 5 minutes ago started drinking that whole prep drink for all my stuff tomorrow, and I'm running out of time, and it's getting late, and I want to make sure I get all this done so that way when I'm ready to rock and get my final take done, that I'm ready to go. Okay? So now this being the DW, which is also a 14, but it's a 14 by 5. Okay? So it's naturally going to have a higher sound to it. And you can hear that's pretty cracking, right? I have it pretty cranked. I know that's my kind of more favorite sound too, is something a little bit higher cranked with more overtones, a little more ring, a little more musical ring to it. But just for, again, repeating myself, the sake of this tune, I think that the other snare goes a bit better. Where did I put the E-ring? E-ring, E-ring, E-ring. Oh, there it is. Okay, so now we'll put the E-ring on the D-dub. That's pretty good too, actually. It cuts out just enough of those. Now I've got this. Okay. And last but not least, we have this. And you know what? I think that this sound on this drum is my favorite. And then the E-ring on the Tama is my favorite combo with that. So let's try that one last time. Because they kind of have a similar timbre to them. And you'll see, because these hoops are so big, I can't get my clamp, the normal Shure microphone clips that would fit on most drums. It's not fitting on this, so I'm using a boom stand for this. Okay, so last but not least, after we just heard the DW with the fat snare on it, now this one. Pretty similar. So, I think it's between this drum with the E-ring and the DW with the fat snare cover on it. Because with it being a 5-inch, you could hear immediately it's got that higher timbre and lower fundamental to it. The thing I love about this is it has dual strainers. It's thicker. It has re-rings. It's, made extremely well. Plus it has wood hoops, so it has more of a vintage sound to it. So all those reasons being, but what I will say is that I did crank it up some after just getting back from work, after getting your guys' suggestions. Okay. And then Brian, I followed yours too, because I was trying to make this specifically not opened up so that it wouldn't create mud while recording, but I think I got it in a pretty good spot. Listen how loud that sustained it. So now I got it pretty much, and that's with the moon gel on top. Pretty close. Does that sound better to you, Brian? And I'm not asking this like facetiously or anything like that. I honestly respect your guys' opinion, and that I'm trying to. It's not an overall sound. It's a specific sound that I'm looking for this type of sound. Okay, and I'll just tell you in the tune, the snare is a 14. It is completely dead. It's detuned. It's got a towel on it. She's playing either a 20 by 12 or a 20 by 14 in it. There are 0 tom licks at all through the whole thing. The entire thing is groove with nothing more than a hi-hat and a ride cymbal. So she doesn't even have a floor tom or a rack tom, nothing. It's just literally the pocket. So that's what my focus is getting that bass drum to sound like that and getting the snare to sound like that, so that when I'm playing the pocket, that those two things will match well. And because this is a 20, and doesn't have quite the dynamics, or at least, volume level that the other bass drums do, just because of its size, I've still found that it's unbelievably rocking. Just rocking. And that's with muffling on the inside of it too. And none of the amps on either, so. Match the dynamics of all the drums, or playing them together. Pretty close. And then once we have everything mic'd, and I put a top snare mic and a bottom snare mic on this snare, so the dead sounding of it, or the rock sound, I'm getting the bottom snap, the snares too, which is really what's going to be more important than any of the tone behind it, because you're really just following that backbeat with just like, sorry, just looking over there, drop my stick, but playing it 1, 2, 3, so you can hear how things are pretty well matched. So, alright guys, well, there's a little bit more to it, just quickly as I could get it done, but I followed some of the advice and I cranked up the Tama a little bit more, plus then took away the fat cover and just used the E-ring, and then used the smaller DW, which is only 5 inches deep, so it's naturally going to have a higher fundamental than the Tama. And I will tell you, they make entire drum sets out of just that snare. the Tama Sound Lab percussion. I mean, they make great snares. So that snare is like almost a $500 snare, believe it or not. I got it on clearance for just a little over $3, but these snares, like, I've noticed certain applications for them, they are amazing. And when you look at the build quality and just how well built they are, how rock solid they are, the hardware is, how well the bearing edges are made, dual strainer, the sliding too, so it doesn't, you don't have to have it on or off. You can have it part way in between and it stay there. So they did a good job designing it. And then it has these cutouts right here. You can see where it's flat, so you can reach the throw off. And underneath on the snare beds too. So I don't know. I think it's a cool snare. I got it just because I'm such a fan of metal snares that, I played with cheapo wooden snares for a long time, and usually snares that just came with kits. But once I was able to kind of experiment with different woods, try maple, try some poplar, try some, what was I going to say? Birch, trying hybrids, different things like that, then, I keep falling back in love with that Tama SLP. And the whole reason I got that was just to match the Pearl Masters Custom. Remember when I had that, guys? And I was saying bye to it that day when I went to go trade in for the Mapex. Well, I got it originally because that finish and that timbre and it being all maple, including the hoops, everything, matched that Pearl Masters Custom perfectly. I mean, not only did it look good, but it was a maple through and through. And it had re-rings. The snare had re-rings. The toms had re-rings. So it just all kind of went together. But, being as nice a snare it is, and because I found it on clearance and held on to it for this long, I just kind of bring it out in, rainy occasions or when I have groups going and need to have another snare going and that stuff. But compared to the timbre of a brass and the amount of ring and sustain, and also because the brass, one of them that I have is a 13. Like, you can hear it already, just like, and I know I need to drop that too, but you can hear like that does not match at all with that lower note of playing something in a classic rock style or groove tune. Yeah, see, that to me just sounds such a deep, fatter rocker sound. So, okay, well, let me know, guys, what you think after now that I've kind of done an A to B comparison with the different rings, and now that I tuned them a little bit different too. Just let me know what you think I should use, and by no means do I have any issues using the DW or changing the tuning or any of that stuff. So if you guys think that something would sound better than the rest, then I will definitely do that. But fair warning, I will be using the DW kit just because this entire thing is all pocket. And if you look in the videos and you watch and study what they're doing, they have a bass drum that's the same size. And if it's any bigger, it's only bigger by 2 inches depth. So the bass drum is pretty standard. They're actually hard to find in these dimensions nowadays. The rack tom is a standard 12 by 8. The bottom is a 14 by 11, but it sounds just as thunderous as my Mapex 14 does, 14 by 12. So they cut off an inch on it, but I mean, the sustain and everything that it has with it, I think is pretty good. So looking back from kind of that angle, that's what we got going on. You can see I kind of dismantled the other so I can move all the mics over to the other side. But throwing a mic inside of this, I put the Beta 91A inside of here. So even if the bass drum isn't projecting, in a room situation, I can dial it in as much as I want with the recording aspect of it. So, okay, another long video. Sorry guys, but I want to make sure I get this 100% right. And I just have so much stuff. Like from tonight until tomorrow morning, I'm having to do all this prep all night and drink all these drinks and do a bunch of stuff. And I haven't been able to eat all day today, starting even before today, and then all day tomorrow. So I'm out of energy, I'm weak, and I'm just trying to keep my head clear going through all this. So, but please let me know, because like I said, I highly respect you guys. And I really think this is the time for the DW to shine. It really is, because the timbre it has, and the type of grooves that it has, it's not using licks, it's not using fills. If it's using any fills, they're really just really quick, da-da-da, just 1, 2, and 3, and 4, da-da-da-da, da-da-da, 1, 2, 3, and da-da-da-da, da-da-da. So, and it's only on the snare, and she has a sheet on her snare even when playing it. So, I was just trying to methodically go through it in my head, and I don't know, maybe sometimes I overthink things too. But thank you guys for your help and your opinion. God bless. Happy drumming.